Alright, thanks for tuning in, guys. This is Blaze Casting, upcoming Dota 2 caster, setting up our castle. Let me give this guy a call real quick. Get this guy in here in the chat, and then we will go from there. How's it going, Brian? What's going on?
Pretty good, pretty good. How's it going?
Not too bad at all. Had a nice smooth game to start it off, and now after this brief patch, we are back on schedule. So, jumping into it, we have this draft starting up. We have Flameboy drafting up on the Dire, and Camel Hoarder, aka Teton, up on the Radiant. Or at least I think so. I might get the icons mixed up. He has the same name right now, but not a big deal one way or another. But Brian Jones, what do you prefer to go as far as your screen name here? You had like 2 or 3 that I wasn't sure.
Yeah, let's just go with Creeper Reaper. I mean, that's the name that's been sticking for Dota.
Sounds good, man. So I got Creeper Reaper here with me, trying out for a co-caster position. Going to run through a couple of different people throughout the day here, but this guy here, well, you're going to pick up some play-by-play or analysis. Would you prefer?
I could do both. I mean, so far, at least in these picks, they're very standardized, except for Ursa coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, if you were reading the you probably weren't reading the chat, but they were talking about some crazy picks. So do not expect a very orthodox setup here. TL ponies or whatever the heck they want to call themselves. Picking up Ursa and Skeleton right off the bat, they may set them up for kind of a level 1 Roshan type setup. If they want to go for Lifesteal and the Fury Swipes passive, but one way or another, they'll get it going. And kind of interesting. They're both very item reliant, but just kind of pubbing it up and having fun with it. So it should be a very interesting game to say the least.
For sure. I mean, both the strong picks have already been dealt with. You got Darkseer, Enigma bans, Rubik, Anti-Mage bans. What's really interesting is that they're not taking any steps to try stopping this kind of early aggression. Maybe with like a Lycan or a Prophet or something where they can actually reveal this kind of level 1 Roche strat.
Absolutely. Sorry, I gotta edit one post real quick. If you want to talk for just a minute, I forgot to add my stream to the Reddit link here. So.
Yeah, so Crystal Main picked up and a Bounty Hunter. Looks like they want to go for the kind of mid-game push, not so much early-game aggression. It's going to be interesting to see what the Dire ends up picking for their 3rd pick. There's a lot of Magnus. That's really interesting. They really want to push this all-in strat.
Alright, definitely, yeah. I mean, Magnus, Skeleton King, Ursa, I don't even know. I mean, Magnus setting up with his... I actually don't even know the names of his abilities very well, but Reverse Polarity is setting up a very very AoE initiation, but they really don't have much AoE to go with it. Ursa Clap barely doing any damage at all, so really they're just trying to take that time to deliver as much hurt as possible with crits, and with the Ursa stacking up that damage every single subsequent auto attack that he sends their way. So we'll see how that works out for him. It's going to be really weird for laning. Are they going to go for an all melee? One way or another, it's going to be really hard for them to get reliable farm if they're up against such powerful supportive heroes such as Crystal Maiden and Leshrac. Very interesting.
Yeah, I don't see them being able to defend towers necessarily easily enough, because Leshrac, he's just a power pusher by himself. Add Crystal Maiden into the mix for the CC, and Bounty Hunter's just going to getting free farm against any of these heroes that they've picked. It's going to be very interesting to see what their actual lane composition is going to be. One thing I would kind of guess what they're doing is they might be going for like a Magnus, get their team CC to just nuke one person and hopefully change the tides in their favor.
Yeah, that's definitely what they want to be looking at. Somebody let me know in chat. Camel Hoarder is actually Dr. Chopper, who's one of the better solo mid players in this Team Liquid in-house group here. So he's drafting it up, and he loves to draft up really interesting heroes. Ogre Magi and Storm Spirit, just something that can be very aggressive here. But right now, picking up the Admiral Kunkka, and with that, providing, I would say he's pretty good anti-melee, because with his Tidebringer, he can harass very effectively in that cone, really push them off the creep wave over and over and over again. I mean, he can do that to range too, but it's more reliable, whatever he ends up doing there. But if he land ghost ships and torrents very effectively there, he can really get some easy kills on Ursa and Skeleton King setting up. I mean, they're very immobile heroes until they get Force Staves or Blink Daggers or whatever to jump in the action, maybe Shadow Blade even, but Ursa and Skeleton King just taking a while to close the gap on their opposition there, and if they can cut it around, especially with Razor draining damage over time with the static link there, it can really be very devastating and very difficult to deal with. So TL Ponies drafting up something very interesting, and Lich will help them secure their lanes a little bit, but I'm not sure if it'll be enough to help them win the early game.
Yeah, like you said, with Kunkka being a very strong pick here, even against the Lich, he could just harass him down with that torrent. It just doesn't... With the Dazzle pickup, I mean, they absolutely need it because of their melee heavy. they need to be able to keep their guys in for longer, and that Shadow Wave is just going to hit a lot in the later game.
Indeed, but the Dazzle does round out their lineup a decent bit there. Really, I think they're going to be going for the level 1 Roshan, though. The Frost Armor, the Skeleton King, Lifesteal Aura, I mean, they have everything they need to really jump this off the bat, especially with that Shadow Wave now being able to be picked up by the Dazzle. So I definitely expect them to be very aggressive in that sense and run out towards the Roshan pit as quickly as possible, but it is a little bit, what am I thinking, transparent if the Radiant team does want to respond to that very aggressively. Stancil can scout that out with his Shadow Walk and go from there. So we do have a quick pause coming out, and hopefully we'll see what happens from there. Probably deciding their early level 1 items. Oh no, they actually do have a disconnect there. Dr. Chopper. Waiting out on him, but no, not a big deal there. So I didn't really give you a chance, but if you want to introduce yourself real quick, how long you've been playing Dota and whatever. Floor is yours.
Oh man. I just realized I had open mic turned off this entire time, so I was just casting to you. Yeah, so let's see, I've been playing Dota since, oh gosh, since I was probably like 16-ish, many moons ago, about 5 years now. Played Han like everyone else when that came out. Then as soon as Dota 2 announced beta, I just hawked it, got in as soon as I could, which was about the first international. And I've been playing constantly ever since, now starting to hopefully get into the competitive scene.
Very cool. So this is a very interesting lineup. As far as how it's going to be going as for lanes, I've seen Magnus go mid a couple of times, not very effectively, but it really depends on the skill of the players. Iberia, pretty skilled player in the TLIH, so I think he can manage no matter what he's going to be going up against, but it's probably going to be Razor in the solo mid, as Dr. Chopper has elected to pick him up. So we'll see exactly how that works out for them, but right now I definitely suspect the possibility of that level 1 Roshan, and really we'll see if the Vampiric Aura is picked up by Skeleton King, we'll know for sure, but they are kind of grouping up together for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good choice to at least try to go for it. Yep, there's the smoke right now. They're definitely going to try getting it if it's possible, just because the lack of scout, like the free scouting ability that the Radiant does not have with, say, like Lycan or any of those little unit abilities.
Yeah, one thing is you'll notice the Dire has not picked up detection, so Bounty Hunter with that Shadow Walk should be sufficient to just jump in there and see what's going on. But right now they actually, I think they want to bait out, they want to feint a level 1 Roshan, put him in a bad position and flank from the side. If that's the case, they're doing a really good job of it. Flameboy leading the pack, has that stun picked up instead, and wants to be, yeah, there we go, perfect initiation starting off on Freck. Leshrac getting caught out right here, the damage coming out on him, but the Torrent,
but there's
really nice action there. And now it's good retaliation damage going on through the pulse from the Plasma Field Razor, doing very aggressive. They're trying to put damage on Freck, who has put up his Edict, chopping down people. He's juking pretty hard though, and he's fast enough to escape. Now Baboon puts a really nice slow up, and they're all grouped up AoE. Here comes the damage, and it's going to be the first kill goes down on Dazzle, then on Skeleton King. Downfall will Ursa. And now that's not even a sentence, but sorry, I got a little bit confused there. One thing is I'm not used to seeing all these heroes specifically. I haven't seen Razor in a long time, and also I keep on forgetting what the skills of Magnus are, so I'll have to get used to that there. But Shockwave and Plasma Field doing work in that fight, but it's going to be 3-0 in the end when the dust settles. Radiant picking that up and really, from a very bad situation, recovering very well and getting a lot out of it for that matter.
Yeah, that was an amazing play by Shrek, baiting them all to chase him, to getting in, stuck in that choke where Crystal Main Crystal Main nuke just hit them all, slowed them all to hell, which just allowed for their entire team to just enclose and get the first blood.
Exactly. And that level 1 Crystal Nova is so good. 3.5 seconds, it's a 30% movement slow, does a decent chunk of damage, and with the Plasma Field to follow it up, they were easily able to bring a number of heroes down. And I think the most amazing thing is they had absolutely no casualties. The Dire just weren't able to lock down the Lishrack, and from there, really couldn't do much. So they were taking decent amount of damage on the middle lane, but it's actually going to be a Stancil that gets flanked up by the Dazzle, picking up his healing wave.
Yeah, they split into their lanes fairly well. I think this is really good for them, putting Bounty Hunter on top against an Ursa, Dazzle. I mean, they can't really do anything against that.
Busty Baboon taking a lot of damage,
actually. Trouble bottom. Oh, she goes down to Skeleton King.
Yeah, he took out the stun, and they were just kind of 1v1ing. She was perfectly comfortable with going up against him, puts the Frostbite out, but then Lich comes in, picking up the Frostblast at level 1. A little odd, but it was very effective in claiming their first kill for the game.
Yeah, I feel like Kunkka is going to actually have a tougher time in this role unless they could actually get the lane control that they need. It's interesting to note that they did not ward the creep spawn, so it actually could be pulled to help them gain that lane control.
Yeah, not too much invested in early game wards on either side. I mean, Leshrac and Dazzle both have one in there, or actually, I'm assuming the Dire have two, since I have yet to place one. But Wicket holding on to both of those for the time being, really not getting the map control that they need with it. But both pulls are free to stack up, and therefore deny the experience of the opposition if they do utilize that mechanic there. But as far as lane advantages, it's kind of hard to say. I know that Magnus definitely has a clear disadvantage up in the middle lane. But going up against a Razor who has just picked up a double damage room. But I don't believe Stancil is going to drop down as long as he plays it safe on top lane. So it's really going to be how well the bottom lane can take advantage of their current situation. If Kunkka gets complete free farm and Skeleton King gets absolutely none, it's definitely going to be a win for them in their book. But we'll have to see if that works out. And they actually are doing the stacking and pulling. Since it has not been warded, they're already starting getting the job going, getting some free experience for themselves, getting those neutrals down, and also denying the creep waves themselves so that the enemy can't do anything in that regard.
Yeah, and the Dire side has literally no rune support at all. I mean, Magnus is getting his bottle shipped out to him via courier right now, but they have no way to tell which rune's actually going to be on, so it's going to be a lot of guessing on his part to hopefully get the right rune. It does look like Lich is going on bottom, just trying to get away that creep pull, but it's just still not going to be enough as soon as they get that online.
Yeah, along with that, he's kind of put himself in a pretty tough spot. The Split Earth, once Leshrac hits level 2, should be really easy to land with Crystal Maiden setting him up, so it shouldn't be that big a deal, and they should be able to protect it. And even if they can't get the pull off, if they can get a kill out of it, they'll be very happy campers in that regard. But yeah, like you said, no ward on Rune right now. I think Dazzle will probably be looking to get the 4-minute rune warded, but for the time being, he's just doing the stacking and pulling action of his own, denying some experience from the Bounty Hunter, as Bloody New 1v1s him to a limited extent. But things are going out on Flame Boy. He played very aggressively last game, kind of dived a little bit too far, 2 times in a row, and now the Edict goes on through. Actually, the Frostbite, a little bit of miscommunication, but at least the Torrent lands. The slow coming out from Crystal Maiden, now they just need to finish him off. Freck does take a stun in the face, but it's enough damage, Kunkka getting the last hit on that, and Freck will survive, probably get salved up, and have no more issues after that. Actually, Dr. Chopper in the middle lane, zoning out Zyberia. The rune has spawned up on top, and I believe that, yeah, Zyberia is going to be able to pick that up.
Yep.
Camel Hoarder giving him quite a bit of pain in the process, but it looks like he will be able to survive from it. Pick up that, immediately pop that double damage and try to heal up a little bit, try to turn it around, but it's not going to be a big deal one way or another. He picked up the rune, and he will sustain in the lane for the time being.
Yeah, he can't do anything, at least until level 6 against this Razor. I mean, you could slightly harass him with that Shockwave and maybe get a lucky skewer, but I mean, it's going to be too much. Razor's just going to peg him down and just stab all... Yeah, he's doing it right now. He's just taking all of his damage. He's just going to kill him even with that double damage. He can't do anything.
Wow, that's insane. I mean, he may drop the process, so tower damage going on, and one more auto attack, I think that'll be enough, and he will drop down. In the meantime, though, Lich was getting flanked up quite a bit, but he did fall back, put himself in a bad spot, but was able to get the ward off, blocking the continuous stacking of the pulls here. And even the spawn here, I don't think they're going to really touch it in the next 6 minutes, but in case they do, that won't spawn either. So both of those camps are going to be blocked off for the time being, and Lich getting that ward off and not dying is kind of a surprise to me. I thought they were going to capitalize on it once they saw him go that direction, but instead it's going to be just the Magnus that takes a fall, and the Razor along with him.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to note here that Ursa's actually leading in the last hits and denies, followed by the Razor and then the Magnus. So I mean, even though they had that entire beginning like clusterfuck, or sorry,
yeah,
you don't want me cussing.
I've tried out to, but no big deal.
Yeah, well, because of that big miscommunication earlier, they're actually getting the head now as far as the last hits and gold goes. Look at the gold graph; it's still in the favor of the Radiant, but it's starting to drop down a little bit towards the Dire side.
Yeah, that team fight definitely put them in the right spot, but it's been wavering ever since. Interesting aspect is the... I actually kind of forgot what I was going to say. Oh no, yeah, Kunkka and his last hits. I mean, he's got a complete free farm in this lane practically. They're zoning out the 2 on bottom extremely well, but Skate Skater just picking up 2 last hits with 14 CS a second ago. They want to go aggressive once more. Busty Baboom setting up with the Frostbite. Easy stun for onto Fearlock, but no, the Nova doesn't come out in time, so he's not going to be able to land it. The Torrent does go on through, but again, just a bunch of wasted spells. I feel if the Nova had gone on through, then it would have been really easy to set up the split Earth, but that coordination didn't go. Illusion Rune, actually, he pops the ultimate Siberia with the polarity shift, putting a lot of damage on Cannibal Hoarder, but he is sapping him for the time being with that static link, and will be fine. Gonna actually pop a salve, pop some bottle charges, wants to go in behind the tower, but it looks like Siberia's already falling back, and I doubt there's any way that Dr. Chopper can bring him down now that he is in this position. In the meantime, Stancil has taken a lot of damage up on top lane. It doesn't look like they have any detection though, so he's just getting some tracks off and trying to survive. But Stancil has plenty of mana. As long as he's very careful about Shadow Walk, he should, even at that low of HP, shouldn't have that much trouble surviving. Until they get detection in anyways.
Yeah, and it just looks like now that the bottom lane is just playing super defensively on the dire side. The Skeleton King can't get those last hits because of, they're doing another sep.
Frostbite. There's a splitter. Now this one works. This one works. They got everything right on the lich. Overlapping a lot, but didn't want to take a chance. And with that, they were able to bring him down. So that's 6-2, and that's, I mean, they need kills. If Kunkka's not farming through CS, he better at least be getting assists out of that. So Leshrac taking the kill, but Flameboy not doing too bad. All things considered, he's at level 5 on a 2 versus 3 lane. That could be doing a lot more pressure to him. So he's surviving for the time being. And once he gets that ultimate up, I mean, that's a free life right there. So not a big deal one way or the other. But actually, Stancil moving in towards mid lane. Keep an eye on that. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say, even though like they've missed some of their abilities, it's just enough pressure to keep them back. I mean, Skeleton King only with 16 CS now. I mean, he's not gonna get any farm in this game because of that, just the threat of that chain CC.
Exactly. And yeah, a lot of damage coming into Magnus, the track doing work, and track kill through the static link, and the Shuriken just being enough. So good gank from Stancil and putting pressure out on the other lanes now that he has farmed up his level 7, giving him mobility, giving him 2-2-2 right now, just kind of mixing in all respects, physical damage, mobility with that invisibility, so he doesn't walk through wards, and with that, just a nice little bit of burst damage to him. Now Dazzle has to decide what he's going to be going for his next level. Level 5 is pretty key for Dazzle. He can get rank 3 in the Poison Touch and get that extra stun with it, or just going to heal a little bit more. But Flameboy in a terrible spot. He does have the Reincarnate available. Freck does actually take a fall. They burn him down, and now the Polarity goes on through. They really want Skate Skater. They don't want to leave anything to chance here. Just a little bit more damage to finish him off. He is taking half damage right now, but it still should be enough. And one more auto attack from Siberia. Now they're trying to bring down Busty Baboon. They don't really have any more mana, though. The slow from there just expired, and she probably will get out of that. I mean, it has to be a really good skewer to manage that. Actually, she walks the wrong direction. Terrible spot, trying to bait a little bit harder, and with that, she does take a fall. Now, nice stun and nice damage coming out from Leshrac. Siberia probably will drop down a little bit more auto attack, a little bit more. He gets out of range. He has more movement speed, apparently. 315. I actually didn't realize he had such a good base movement speed, but equivalent values there, and the auto attacks not enough to bring it down.
Is moving in on Fearlock, just trying to push him down. He's getting it,
one more.
And he pops his ult and gets it.
Yeah, that ultimate just doing a lot of damage just by being nearby and bringing it down.
And
Actually, Magnus dropped down.
actually went middle with Crystal Nova and got Siberia.
Now that's something you don't see every day, for sure. Crystal Maiden 1v1 Magnus victory.
Yeah, the Shrek pops level 2 Edict. They're going to try pushing down this tower as hard as they can real quick.
Sentry did get put down on Stancil, but he is fine for the time being. Yeah, but on bottom lane, Leshrac is the last hit on that, so that's plenty of gold in favor of the Radiant here. Looking that up, they did shoot down a little bit in that exchange, but they're taking it right back in stride.
For sure. And you were mentioning earlier about the skill build. Dazzle actually got Shallow Grave, so it looks like they actually want to be able to dive soon, want to be able to get that bounty hunter kill and push down this top lane much quicker than they anticipated before.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually don't really agree with the fact of putting 2 in Poison Touch if you're going to just put Shallow Grave at level 3. I don't know. It's actually best to Baboon taking a lot of damage though, and the ultimate comes out from Lich finishing the job. He does take a fall, but there's a lot of bounces going between Skater, and he's going to take one more auto attack, drop down. Camel Hoarder is in a pretty poor spot, but the tower is not on him. Bloody Noob does get a slow onto Freck, and probably will get one more auto attack to finish the job, and Skeleton King just coming right back up with his ultimate, so no problem there. Looks like Razor will get out with no problems. Very fast movement speed, even without his passive, but actually his stun comes on through. Flameboy wants to stay on this and just a little bit more damage. Stancil gets the track up though, and that's a lot of movement speed, so he can kite as much as he needs to, but the damage from Siberia is plenty. Magnus finishing the job, and now probably wants a polarity shift onto Stancil. A lot of stun coming out, and can he get the Shadow Walk in time? He cannot. Siberia finishing off with the Shockwave. Finish that job and getting a couple of really good kills for that. I don't know if he TP'd in or just ran on through, but one way or another he was exactly where he needed to be, right place, right time.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Even with that semi-recent patch where they changed how the gold interaction works, it's very obvious with that bounty track how much of a jump they did, even for that one kill. And then, because I mean, even though they lost 3 people there, they were still much higher in gold.
Yeah, I will point out though, with that exchange with Magnus coming out on top, look at the experience graph. It just plummets down with that advantage being completely turned around, especially with Razor having all that experience, being the highest at level 10, and just sending all that experience to Way of the Dire. Actually didn't check on Dazzle. He has Shallow Grave on him for the time being, but he has torrented up. Just one more auto attack will finish the job. Bounty Hunter taking that kill. Don't think it was a track kill, but one way or another it was. I mean, kills are kills, especially with 6.75 buffing up the bounty for kills and assists across the board will really help out in their favor. But they're only sitting at 12-10 advantage, so it's really where the farm is going to be going. And if Bounty Hunter can get some real items to keep that snowball rolling.
Yeah, and just to take a look at the CS now, Ursa leading with 59, followed by Magnus with 38. I mean, they're just staying on top of the CS. They want the farm. They want to be able to push this into the later game.
Bottom lane, Flameboy gets turned around, goes on Freck, is putting a lot of damage out, still has him slowed. One more auto attack will do the job. Leshrac really wanted to initiate on that, do the Edict damage and go through with the Split Earth as well. Lands those nicely on top of the Frostbite, but Crystal Maiden and Leshrac are not brawlers, and if they can burst him down through that, actually a decent chunk of HP pool, 1271, if they can't finish the job there, then they really don't have much follow-up after their spells are on cooldown there.
Yeah, and while you were saying that, Camel and Stancil actually dove down to the second tower to kill off Magnus. They did get that track gold for that too.
Yeah, they just put in a lot of pressure on Magnus. Did he have his ultimate available?
I believe he did. No, he did not.
Okay.
He was actually just short on mana.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, if he had it available, I'm sure he would have actually put in a lot of counter pressure there. But one way or another, Wicked actually in a terrible spot right now. He gets tracked up, and so they have complete vision on him. They can just close the gap really easily, get an Edict damage on him. But Fearlock comes in with the ulti available. Can he put it out in time? The stun goes on through. He does get the ulti off though. And now with a nice polarity, but Freck, the Chain Frost ends, but Siberia finishing the job with that skewer. Now he's going to run for his life, but he is slowed up, and he's probably going to drop down to this. I can't imagine he will survive for very much longer with the damage coming out of Camel Hoarder. Those auto attacks plus 250 damage. That is just so insane, that rank 4 static link. When it stays on somebody for an extended period of time, getting 224 attack damage out of that is so ridiculous in my mind.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I agree with their strategy right now. I mean, it seems like they're just having the same 3 just constantly trying to pick a lane and help support it while they have the other 2 carries just keep farming. But, I mean, the Radiant side wants to go for this early game push. They want this early game. They don't want to push it into late game. And they're going to keep getting it if these late game heroes are just sitting off in the corner just farming away.
I completely agree, and I've really, the only time that I can justify that much free farm on Ursa and not focusing on team fights at all is if he's going to take Roshan pretty soon. He has the Vladimirs, he definitely can do it, but the question is if he can do it stealthily. If he can smoke in, if he can jump on that Roshan and get that gold, get that experience, absolutely worth it for him to have farmed this much. But if not, then he's really, there's no momentum, and it's going to be in favor of the team. Not only has a kill advantage, but the Bounty Hunter getting that track gold for his team, about to hit rank 2 track, which is more money. And Dromedaire's finished up on him.
Yeah, the gold has now shifted much higher into the Radiant side. I mean, they're over 3k now in difference in the experience graph. They've actually caught up completely. Now it's just about equalized. I mean, they're really pushing this early game. They want to get every tower that they possibly can.
Exactly. So they've taken down a number of tier 1s. It's given them quite a bit of an advantage, and with the kills here, it's just showing that the CS really isn't worth it now. If Ursa can get some big items out of it. The armlet has been finished on SK, so that does help him out with a decent chunk of damage and health. But the thing is, I talked about mobility a little bit before. Ursa, Skeleton King, if they can't get to their target, they really can't do much. Actually, like you're saying, Bloody Noob getting ghosted up by Razor. He is invisible right on him now. 2 Invis heroes blocking him down. The track keeping on top of him really quickly there. And now Bloody Noob will probably drop down to 1 more auto attack. The Shuriken helping a little bit, but Razor finishing the job. And more tracks go out just to make sure. So yeah, that was a really fortuitous invisibility rune for the Razor, setting it up to get, scout around and see what was going to happen right before they wanted to initiate on it.
Yeah, and just because Ursa's just waiting his time, he's not doing Roche. I mean, it's just that kill is going to set him back so far. He needs to immediately smoke and probably Roche right now. Because, I mean, the momentum of this game is definitely not in their favor, and they need whatever they can just to shift it back. On bottom lane, it looks like Magnus going in for damage. They're catching. Oh, I'm awful at that.
Yeah, they were trying to lock somebody down, but after Lich's slow had already been expired, and the skewer is such a long cooldown at 30 seconds, they were just not able to really stick on top of anybody. So that's where the movement speed advantage of the Radiant team with the drum, with the track, they can stick to people, whereas the Dire, they really have a hard time locking people down. Now the pings are coming out, they know that they're probably going to be looking at Roshan in the near time period. They already killed Ursa, they saw his Vladimir's offering, so they know that he has full potential to do it, and they're probably going to run in all out and try to get aggressive there. But Stancil sees them at the Ancients, or at least pulling around the Ancients. That's actually a pretty substantial stack. I'm not sure what they're waiting for on that. I guess Ursa can probably bring that down pretty effectively there.
Yeah, they don't have any wards on the Radiant side. It's just the Dire, so they were able to completely see that, pull them out. It's actually really interesting that the Radiant has not actually bought wards in the past 12 minutes of this game. They had good wards early game, but they've just ignored it.
Wow, big boat coming on through. A lot of damage going across. I mean, the Chain Frost does a little bit, but it's really everything. Camel Hoarder doing work with that double damage rune, just putting out so much right here. And 2 kills for... I mean, yeah, actually, on the back end, Flameboy does get a kill onto 2 heroes here. He gets actually 3 heroes out of that. The Leshrac, the Lich, and the Kunk actually didn't catch how active he was. I'm assuming the Armlet, if they were running right by him, then he definitely had the opportunity to close the gap, get a couple easy stuns off, and through that, they didn't focus him at all. They just let him freely auto-attack, and Flameboy taking a lot of money out of it.
Yeah, Stancil diving pretty much to their fountain, actually grabs a TP and teleports back, knowing that Magnus skewers on cooldown. Very, very close call, as he was less than 25%.
Yeah, that could have been really bad for him, but I mean, if you can't burn him down, then yeah, TP is a very effective ability. And if you actually look at it, if you think about the delay and the Skeleton King's Hellfire Blast, along with that, the Poison Touch, those are really the only 2 reliable stuns they have. And I guess you can consider Lich's ultimate mini stun, and of course the ultimates and skewer abilities from Magnus. But those are really long cooldowns. So as far as TP scrolls go through, if they exhaust those spells, then there's really not much more they can do to prevent you from popping that channel and getting out of a really, really crappy situation. Meantime, though, Flameboy looking with his rank 4 Vampiric Aura to farm up on these Ancients as best he can. And doing pretty good work with them, relying on crits a little bit, but once he brings down the biggest one, the Elder Dragon here, should be easy work to finish off the rest with no problems at all.
Yeah, Camel Hoarder picked up a haste, but I mean, the entire Radiant side, they're just pushing their lane still. I mean, they want to keep getting this farm. Stancil's catching up in the farm now with 44 CS. Ursa's still in the lead with 89, followed by SK now with 68. But they want to push this.
Absolutely. Now, Hyperstone picking up on Skeleton King. I guess an Assault Cure is probably coming out of that, but yeah, if he can stay on top of somebody. Actually, Flameboy getting Frostbite been up for the time being. Now, Razor with that haste rune wants to stay on top. The Urn goes through, but they're not willing to dive on it. They know they have so many reinforcements, they have a lot of abilities up their sleeve, and they're like, it's not worth it for a Skeleton King who's actually not going to even die from the damage they're putting out.
Yeah, plus it's just so hard. I mean, he has Reincarnation up. He has the mana for it. He's just going to wait. He'll let them kill him just so he could kill all of them in return.
Indeed, indeed. So not a lot of action compared to the early aspects of the game. I mean, we started off right now, Razor has 7-2 and 9, but hasn't picked up anything recently since that team fight on bottom lane, which was kind of more of a massacre as they were diving so overextendedly that Skeleton King was just able to waylay into him. He has picked up a lot of farm for that. So they keep on stacking up for him. He can handle the Ancients, no problem at all. Has gotten a number of kills, and though his CS is only at 76, which is still above anybody in the Radiant team, a lot of those are Ancients, which give him quite a bit of gold. So, not a big deal one way or another.
Yeah, it's interesting to actually see Dazzle's actually walking around publicly with a smoke. He's not wanting to hide it or anything. He's letting them know that, hey, we could smoke at any time. And you could easily see that they want to do it.
Yeah, kind of a little bit projecting their intentions there. Maybe a little bit of mind game there, trying to throw them off, but I don't know if they're even checking it and taking that into too much consideration there. In the meantime, yeah, well, wow, actually didn't catch on Stancil going on Lich on the bottom lane here, but, you know, just one quick, if Lich is all by himself, there's really very little he can do. I mean, he has the TP scroll available, but just a simple shortcut can finish the job there, and with the Janata and the track, he can stay on top of anybody he wants. And actually, Bounty Hunter Shadowblade, the ultimate pub, goes on through, has Shadow Walk, has Shadowblade, and just the most burst you can imagine there. Very funny.
I mean, That's actually a pretty decent pickup in this game, because I mean the dire side has refused to buy any kind of stealth attack or wards.
Wow, look at that damage. Holy crap.
Wow.
Just evaporating Dazzle with those auto attacks. And it's just kill cam right here. Stancil on the ball with the Shadow Blade burning through. And that's fun. Stancil, lurk, lurk, lurk. He just runs in there, and he can do whatever the heck he wants. Because, like you said, they are not doing a good job with wards or detection or anything along those lines. They have sentries up on Dazzle now, and Dust up on Lich, but they have to know when to use them, or they're just going to get dropped down extremely quickly. In the meantime, though, Vladimir's does provide them 5 armor aura, and that'll help out a lot. But a team fight breaking out, Flameboy on the front end of it, he's willing to drop down for the cause as he does that reincarnate. Chainfrost gets expired, though. Stancil pulling that out of the action, but Leshrac will be the only one that falls, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, and they pull out. They dusted early, so Stancil couldn't go back in unless he wanted to risk death. And it looks like that they were going to take this advantage. They're going to go ahead and push down that middle lane. They want their first tower kill. 22 minutes into this game.
Yeah, kind of agree with that, but I almost think that Ursa should break out from the pack and put some pressure on Roshan. Just kind of divert their attention in multiple different directions. Sentry War goes down. Could have been amazing, but they didn't get any reliable stuns off him. If Siberia had popped that ultimate, that would have been a dead bounty hunter for sure, but he didn't want to commit to it. Instead, they're all kind of cornered, flanked out in all different directions. SWAT team Radiant gathering around and putting a lot of pressure. Stancil once again on the Sentry Ward, gets slowed down a little bit. The Skewer does not land, and everything else is insufficient. Skater puts down a nice boat, which only hits on Ursa. It might be enough, but he's just going to fall back. A nice amount of burst damage. Stancil finishing the job with Dr. Chopper getting the last hit on that, so really, really aggressive. And
yeah,
what is Skeleton King doing?
100% out of position. He actually he murdered Leshrac and was trying to chase down the Crystal Maiden, but again got caught out of position.
Oh, big whip on Siberia's polarity shift. Completely misses everybody on that. Nobody getting locked down by that ultimate there, and he's going to get burned down really quickly. Actually, Dazzle keeping alive for the time being. Skater wants to stay on him, and with the track, he should be able to bring him down, but it is going to be an extended pursuit, ended by the bounty hunter prematurely there.
Yeah, that exchange was completely against what they had wanted. I mean, they didn't get the tower. They got minimal damage on it. They lost almost their entire team during that fight.
And if they can push down this tower, that's just so much more momentum for the Radiant team. I mean, the gold itself from the team fight victory was really good. And that polarity shift is a really short cooldown at rank 2. 110 seconds goes down to 100 at rank 3. And he does have that blink dagger, but you cannot afford to miss it like that. They're relying a lot on the polarity shift combined with the Chain Frost combo, but Lich is only level 9 right now. And until I can get that at level 11, I really don't feel like they have the team fight advantage, especially if Kunkka can land a boat on, let's say, 2 heroes. But interestingly enough, the really advantage of Dire, where they're not picking up enough detection, I mean, they're finally getting some dust, finally getting some sentries, but the timing of it hasn't been exactly appropriate to lock anybody down. And now Kunkka has a Shadow Blade, Bounty Hunter has a Shadow Blade. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Razor pick up one. That would be fun. But one way or another, it's completely in the ballpark of the supports of the Dire. If they can set it up with detection, see what's happening, and therefore be able to outposition it and get an advantage with that Blink Dagger Magnus. Stancil on to Fearlock, quick burn down. And that's all she wrote for the Lich. And it's going to be very difficult. Actually, a lot of damage going down. Does he have the dust? They have the slow, but they don't have the dust. Dazzle coming in finally, but he actually doesn't have it either. Look at it. Just throwing on the track just to mess with him. But, yeah, that's a lot of burst damage from the Bounty Hunter. And
Ursa did actually have dust. He just didn't use it.
That's completely logical in my mind. I don't know why he wouldn't bother. Probably forgot, honestly.
Yeah.
But like I was saying,
that's going to end up costing them a lot here. Looks like they're going to set up for another team fight.
And up on top lane, they're already putting pressure up on the tier 2. The Edict doing a lot of damage along with the Siege Creep laying into it. So dropping down to below 300. They don't have the glyph available, so they might want to try to get a kill on the board from their current position. But they are going to lose the tier 2 no matter what, and they're completely surrounded by creeps. Does he want to go on Wicked? Does he really want to do this? Oh, he does, and he burns him down and completely. He shadow walks away, and although they have popped the dust, he just can walk that much faster. Has phase boots, has drum, and you know, there's not really, like I said, there's nothing for Ursa to close the gap unless they had something that started off with Magnus using that blink and skewering him across. That's the only thing they could have done to lock him down. Along with that, I was talking about the Lich. He really needs that experience to get to the rank 2 ulti, but how's he going to get that if he just every single time he comes out on the battlefield, there's a bounty hunter right behind him, stabbing him in the back?
Yeah, if you look at the gold chart now, it's just Radiant is just decimating. They have a 10k lead now with all the towers taken. Experience graph shows about 5k lead. I mean, they're just everything the Radiant does. They're always a step ahead of the Dire.
For those of you guys asking in chat, and also those just tuning in, I'm Blaze Casting, and this is where you're going with Creepy Reaper.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Alright, Creepy Reaper co-casting with me, doing tryouts there, but I am Blaze Casting, and just trying out a number of different people here. But Team Liquid in-house game has been very active so far, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more action in the process here as Razor gets even more farmed up, about to pick up his Butterfly. Only about 400 gold off of that. And Stancil at the steps of his tier 3 tower. I mean, he's so close to his base, so close to safety, and yet so far away with this bounty hunter going wherever he pleases.
With the Desolator now, he just one-shots all their support. I mean, they're no longer remotely safe. Shallow Grave won't even help at this point.
I mean, it might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but I definitely hear what you're saying there. I mean, -5 armor with the track combined with -6 from the Desolator. I mean, looking at Lich's armor, if he's not putting up his ice armor, he's only sitting at, what is it, 7 right now? I'm not even sure. Oh, he has Trinkle Boots up. So he currently has 7 armor, but that's all going to be reduced down, -4, which is going to be like 125% damage received in physical. It's just ridiculous how much this bounty hunter can put out, especially with the bonus damage just at 150 from Shadow Blade, along with the 90 or 120 from the Shadow Walk. Anyways, he is kind of going 1v1 versus Flameboy. Siberia jumping in to try to help him out, but he just stealths away and no problem at all.
Yeah, he actually dodged that stun. I mean, for sure I thought he was going to get stunned and get caught out there. But his reaction time was just perfect. Hellfire Blast was cancelled in between. It's amazing. And they took down the tower too, just pushing down further.
Now, I haven't really seen too much from this Empower ability from Magnus. He keeps on putting it up on Ursa and Skeleton King, but really, if they don't have the way to stay on top of them without getting ganked up and caught out of position, is it really going to help them? They have that much more damage. I really think they need more mobility. Maybe like an Ogre Magi's Bloodlust would be more beneficial than the increased damage, because they do a heck of a lot of damage when they auto-attack, but right now Dire can't close the gap unless they're already just getting shredded by the enemy team. And so Razor especially putting out a lot. And if you can think about that, combining the Desolator track effect that Bounty Hunter has going on with the Eye of the Storm, putting reducing by 1 armor every second or whatever, it does really bring the hurt and helps Razor in his amount of damage, as he has 35% evasion with that Butterfly now. And I can't imagine MKB being picked up on Skeleton King or the Ursa anytime soon. I mean, they both look like they were looking for BKBs or something, but that won't even help them at this stage in the game. I think Skeleton King probably should have finished off as Assault Carrier, so at least he would have gotten some bonus armor along with that Vladimir's for his teammates, and then also gotten some decent amount of attack speed for himself.
Yeah, exactly. And none of the supports are actually even trying to attempt to build a mechanism. I mean, I feel like that would be huge against this team. They really need that extra armor and that extra health. I mean, during the team fights, it's just they all get so low, and they just get picked off one by one. If they had that extra boost, they could stay in there for longer.
Siberia jumping in, Blink Dagger, Reverse Polarity going on through a lot of burst damage, and here comes the Chain Frost as well. Skater getting dropped down. They do pop the dust, make sure they can bring down Stancil, and this may be what they needed to come back in the game. I mean, they're still down by a huge margin of gold and items, but all the same, Blink Dagger going through the boat. The Torrent actually puts down a lot of damage on Bloody Noob. He's trying to 1v3, and he just might be able to with the damage he's getting. The Steel, he does get stunned up for the time being, but he has 35% evasion. He's happy to use it. A lot of movements here with the phase boots too. He's going to stick on. The Shadow Blade goes out on Bloody Noob, and he's going to drop down right here. Torrent goes on through. It doesn't hit by Siberia, but the Plasma is sufficient. Now there is a nice amount of heal going on through. Yeah, the Aegis was up on Kunkka, but Camel Hoarder is taking a lot of damage, and he may drop down here, yeah.
Stancil coming in, pretty much one-shotting the Magnus. Now he's getting stunned. Shallow Grave saved Dazzle up until Kunkka just decided to say no.
Yeah, Kunkka doing what he can to get out there. Actually disjoints the stun with his invisibility. Good timing off. Just pretty much spams it off cooldown, but still lucked out on the timing. Actually, the ultimate going on through Freezing Field. The bow goes across. Actually hits him on the back end. That radius increase helping him out quite a bit, but now Flameboy comes up with the Reincarnate. Has 55 seconds that he has to survive if he's going to live through this exchange here. Has survived for a very long time, but like I said, he's only so fast with his 300 plus 60 movement speed from the treads. Not the biggest deal in the world, but he did get a decent chunk of gold out of that. In the end, when the dust settles, he has 8, 2, and 9 for his KDA, which is not too bad at all for a carry trying to farm out, but when you compare that with his opposition, the 9, 3, 12 Razor and the 14, 3, 8 Bounty Hunter, it's really difficult to stay on par with the amount of damage that they can set out. Now, if they can keep on getting those ultimate initiations with Magnus, getting 3 in the polarity shift there, and just burning through them extremely quickly, that turned the tide of the fight in a matter of seconds. But It's really, they have to rely on that a lot to... He's actually animation canceling in base, reverse polaritying over and over and over. That's hilarious. Didn't know you could do that.
And it gives the viewers just a chance to see actually how big that radius is. I mean, if he blinks in, he could get their, like what he just did, he could get their entire team stuck in it. That's an easy 4-second stun, soon to be 5-second, or yeah, 5-second stun. And that's just devastating, especially with this SK who's actually now starting to get somewhat back up in the farm. He has gems just so he could catch Stancil out of position, hopefully.
That's the plan, but that gem is a big investment, and if they can actually drop down Flameboy, pretty much all they have to do is make sure they don't get caught out by the Magnus once more. If the Magnus only gets 1 or 2 people in that polarity and not really having to worry about their position too much, then they could actually just pick off all the supports really quickly. Actually, Stancil, with the gem doing work here, he does get slowed down and stunned up, and I doubt he's going to be able to get out of this. Shadow Blade not helping him whatsoever, and he's going to drop. So that's a really nice kill onto Bounty Hunter. You're looking, he's level 18 with all these solo kills. I definitely believe it. So that's going to be a lot of experience handed to the Dire, and with that they have a very, very big opening, window of opportunity to kind of take control back of the map. I mean, they don't have wards up right now, but they need to get them, and supports have 50 seconds where they can actually move around, farm up their mechanisms, and get the wards rolling. So hopefully that will be what they actually capitalize on that time period and can really move forward in this game, because like you've said multiple times in a row, the gold graph is extensive. They have a 15,000 gold deficit, and if Dire wants to stay in this, they do have really good endgame heroes. Skeleton King scaling with the crit, Ursa with the his ultimate, his HP to damage, as well as just surviving long enough to get more Fury Swipe stacks. It's really, really effective, but needs something to survive against that Bounty Hunter. I think maybe a Butterfly would be appropriate, assuming the Bounty Hunter is not building MKB, which, as I've heard in the chat, it seems like a Divine Rapier is on par with what this Bounty Hunter could be looking at now that he has that Desolator and the Shadow Blade burst damage. But they're looking to push tier 2 mid.
Yeah, the later this game goes, the easier it's going to be for the Dire to come back and actually push this. I mean, they have Ursa, they have Skeleton King, they have Magnus.
Boat is coming on through. Really nice flank boat, and actually a ton of damage going across on everybody. Wicked does survive for the time being, but everybody else is dropping down really, really quickly, and Wicked will fall as soon as that Shallow Grave ends. TP's not happening in time, so Flameboy is all by himself, and although he has BKB, he's trying to auto-attack, and he's just getting burned down by auto-attacks, so that just shows its limitations. He can only do so much. The BKB makes him immune to all the magic damage, all the disables, but the static link drain still inhibits how much damage he can deal, and while it is active on him, the BKB does not remove that or anything. And with that, of course,
DD and drain,
yes,
is so powerful.
And then Stancil and Dr. Chopper just doing so much physical damage in the first place, they could care less whether or not he has magic immunity or not. But yeah, that Kunkka boat, that really set it up. I can't imagine they could even predict that it would be flanking in from that direction, coming in from the north onto the tier 2, but it was really good positioning that set up the action there. So well played by Skate Skater. Does that drop the base? Did he change his name like twice? Looks like it. Yeah, I think that's dropped the base. So well played by him. He was the puck last game who did some really nice initiations as well. But good on him there.
Forced a buyback on Flameboy, just so they could actually defend that tower, which they actually didn't even push up into. It looks like that they're trying to catch Stancil out of position, but Stancil's just gonna sit on the outskirts, stay in biz, not get caught out at all.
Now, along with that, it looks like they threw away the gem. Yeah, they destroyed the gem. Oh no, actually, Razor still has it. So if he loses it back, if he drops it back in the hands of the Dire, they may still have a chance at locking down Stancil. But for the time being, that gem being such a high cooldown, 10 minutes now, when they lost it, they really lost a very valuable resource for their team. And it's going to be hard to do anything other than spam Sentry Wards to try to survive against this amazing Bounty Hunter right now.
Yeah, Razor looking like he's actually going to go for a Eye of Scotty. He wants to put on the hurt. He wants to put on the slow. He just wants to destroy their entire team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like that pickup. I mean, it's a really nice mix between tank and damage, and so he keeps them on top of them. He does orb walking, uses attack animation to just move and attack, move and attack. He's already got a great movement speed advantage, so giving them the movement speed disadvantage that Scotty provides is just devastating. Now Stancil on the hunt once more, wants to find somebody squishier than that Ursa Bear. Instead just pops off the track. They know he's there, but really what more can they do? At least for the time being, Fearlock is keeping up that Frost Armor, only rank 2, providing that 5 armor bonus, but it's essential for them to survive that early gank action and that early game damage, or early initiation damage coming out of the Bounty Hunter.
Yep, and Stancil moving bottom just to farm up. Wards being placed now just to protect their jungle. And Roshan's actually going to be up in about a minute and a half here. See if they could actually do something with that.
Yeah, that's going to be a very key objective coming up. That's really what they need to be doing. So if they can get a hold of the Roshan, the AoE initiation of Zyberia really can set them up for a very good team fight as they kind of choke them down in that little position there. Torrent and X marks the spot goes on through, not really relevant there. Can Skater get out of that poor spot? And with Shadowblade, I can't imagine anything would be preventing him. Now he does have that day. Dallas, is he looking for a Divine Rapier himself? I mean, he could go for an MKB with it, be a little bit more practical, but if we've seen anything from this Radiant team, they're all but practical, and they want to go big or go home. So I'm expecting some action from Kunkka involving plus 300 damage.
Yeah, for sure. It just looks like both teams, I mean, they want something to happen, but at the same time, it's just they need to keep farming. They need to push the lanes out. It looks like Radiant's pushing mid just because they can. Dire had to go back up, make sure that top was okay. I mean, it's just they want something to happen. It's just going to be an increased tension until something finally just explodes, like what we saw with the Kunkka.
Exactly, and lining that up pretty well there. But problem is, Lich just, like you're saying, that mechanism is such an important tool for them to really fight in an actual team fight. Their supports haven't really matured in this game enough to get the gold that they need to get even a decent level. I mean, they've gotten the rank 2 ultis, I believe, on both the heroes now. Yeah, Dazzle finally has picked up his rank 2 in Weave, but it's still, they don't have very good items. A Bracer, Tranquil Boots, it's not going to do enough in an extended team fight. It may help you survive a gank really quickly, but other than that, Dazzle can get focused down so quickly, and all he has is Shallow Grave rank 2 to save him for the time being. But Orange and Yellow have to definitely TP back and try to defend this tower here. Secure this. Otherwise, they're actually doing a lot of damage. They still have the Fortify, I believe. It's just come up, so they're going to pop the Fortify here. Nice damage coming out onto Flameboy, but he will just come back, actually. Not even dropping down for the time being. Nice initiation, Zyberia putting out a huge amount of damage with the Shockwave, with his Polarity Shift, now just burning through. In fact, being the only one surviving, and Flameboy finally goes down, only to come right back up and finish off the tower, finish off the Crystal Maiden. Buyback's coming out. Kunkka trying to put some torrents out, trying to put some burst damage across, but Stancil is the only one that can remain. He is putting the damage, gets stunned up, and he has his invisibility. They have detection. They do, and Rampage for Flameboy, putting out so much damage in the process. They're set up perfectly by Zyberia, and that is going to be their racks. I mean, I can't imagine any way Radiant could prevent the racks from being dropped down here.
Yeah, and a buyback from Ursa, I think that was a little premature, but because he's not actually coming to help, he's just helping pushing out that bottom lane. But that was a huge encounter. It definitely pushes it more into their favor.
BKB popped up on Skeleton King, the armlet going on through. The stun is sufficient. Nice skewer after Blink from the Magnus, and now they're just going to take the racks real quick now that they finished off the Lush rack. And he's at 5 seconds remaining until he actually stun coming on through. Skater, can you survive? I don't believe so. He gets knocked down. Lich finishing that off with the Frost Blast there. Flameboy is dropping pretty low, but you have to remember his Reincarnate just came back up, so no problem. As long as he doesn't do more than 2 more stuns, then he'll be able to survive and come right back up. Does get frostbitten for the time being. He was going to try to armlet through it in between the auto attacks, but it didn't work out for him, so he's just going to TP out, and with the frostbite on cooldown, nothing stopping him. The ranged racks should fall down just from the siege creep, but right now the melee racks were the one that they really needed to drop off. Nope, they're focused on the siege creep, and it looks like the Radiant will survive for the time being, but not the biggest deal. One more, another Skeleton King with that Rampage gold, picking up the Assault Cuirass, and that's going to help a ton in these team fights. I wish he had picked it up before the BKB, but he has it now, and that's what counts.
Yeah, the XP graph shows that they gained about 10k experience there, and trying to drop it down to even status now. I mean, that was exactly what the Dire needed. They needed to push in, they needed to kill them, and they got a Rex from it. Now that they could keep that constant pressure on the top lane, they have more free time to pick up Roche now that he's spawned, or help push out middle or bottom lane.
Now, one thing I mentioned earlier is I wasn't sure if Empower was the supportive buff they needed to set up their carries here. I was talking about movement speed and things along those lines, like Ogre Magi's Bloodlust, but no, in that last fight we definitely saw how powerful the Empower ability can be. Just Skeleton Kings cleaving on through that beautiful setup from Magnus, setting up with his ultimate, the reverse polarity, 4-second stun, and yeah, just doing a decent chunk of damage in the process. So picking off 3 or 4 heroes with that, and setting up the Skeleton King to get that Rampage, which definitely put them back on the board. You're looking at the amazing difference in the gold graph, in the XP graph. Actually, that was the XP. Sorry, gold graph is still they're still down 50,000, but 15,000, but the advantage is back in their favor, or at least a lot closer. Along with that, the experience graph is almost equal. In this 41-minute game, they're only about 4,000 gold or 4,000 experience off, so not bad at all. And right now, Skilking topping it off and just showing what farm means with that arm, with the Assault Cuirass, with the armlet. Now picking up a Basher, probably going to go for that Abyssal Plate for some reliable stuns and try to knock out that Razor, hopefully, anyways. But I don't know if Basher's the right choice. I kind of feel like MKB would have been a better option because obviously we do have that evasion up on Razor, possibly in Bounty in the future. So one way or another, if they want to bring down Razor, they either have to focus him extremely hard, disable him really hard, or get that MKB to just do consistent damage on him without having to worry about the evasion there. But we do have a quick pause coming out. Not exactly sure why, but not a big deal one way or another. What are your thoughts so far, current setup for both these teams? Do you think that Radiant's advantage has diminished at all? Do you think that the scaling of Dire is too much, and if they waited out 10 more minutes, they will win this game, or how do you think it's going to play out?
I definitely think that the longer the Dire pushes this game out to be, the more set up they're going to be. I mean, SK, like you said, he's farming for his Abyssal. Magnus items are all going to get stronger. I'm not quite sure what he's building with that Oblivion staff, but I mean, even an Orchid could do massive amounts of damage against their team. I mean, putting an Orchid on Bounty Hunter or even Leshrac, I mean, they can't do anything else besides just auto. Dazzle's now actually getting more support items. Looks like both him and Lich have a mech. I mean, they want to survive. They want to keep this game going, and the longer this game goes, the better chance they have of actually carrying through all their damage.
Absolutely. What's coming out to Kunkka though? Just TP scroll. I was hoping for a Sacred Relic. I really was, but nothing so interesting. Not so lucky here. But lots of tracks going out. Keeps a very good idea of what's going on. Bloody Noob currently has the nice buff of the Empower from that Magnus, but that will be expiring shortly, and not a big deal. I think they're just kind of keeping an eye on one another, trying to kind of draw the line, say if you're going to be going to put some pressure on Roshan, both teams can pretty much bring him down in a matter of like a dozen seconds. So they're just trying to get a positional advantage and looking for a big Kunkka boat, I bet, to start things off. But Flameboy jumps in the pit himself. Kind of says Leroy Jenkins going up against the Roche, but that's not what he has to worry about. It's a team on the outside. We're about to put a lot of pressure on in. 2-second stun going to be coming out from Freck. Here comes the boat. Perfect time with the Torrent, and wow, they just get evaporated. Now there is some initiation coming in from Magnus, but is it enough? Bloody Noob off in the BKB has an Empower doing a lot of damage, but it's actually Radiance that's dropping based on this. Now the stun comes out onto Hoarder. Dr. Chopper taking a lot, and will he survive? He does have that evasion like I was talking about, phase boots, but he gets stunned up. A little bit more damage. Bloody Noob going to finish the job. And wow, really, I mean, only a double kill for Bloody Noob, but all across the board, that's 4-4-0 as Magnus just barely got out of there. Very fortunate indeed.
Yeah. That was actually excellent play by Ziberius. As soon as he heard that ship, he actually blinked out of that and was caught, not in that, but he actually stunned to catch both Bounty Hunter, and I believe it was both Bounty Hunter and Leshrac. He caught them both out and just destroyed.
Yeah, Ursa on the back end there. He wasn't in the pit at the time, and he had the Blink Dagger available to jump in on Ziberia's initiation. It was just really good synergy there. And I mean, Overpower, that passive from the Ursa, combining that with the Empower of Magnus, just puts out so much damage so rapidly. It's a quick burst that just shredded through everybody that was caught up in that, and it's just completely astonished me how fast they were able to drop down everybody. And Bounty Hunter building not really any durability, all glass cannon, just showing that if he's caught out, especially in that ultimate of the polarity shift, there's really very little he can do. And now they're looking to protect down Rax. I mean, the 5-second glyph has been popped off. Baboon trying to hold it off, same with Kunkka, but it looks like there's just too much damage. That's going to be melee Rax at the very least, possibly ranged, but now they're coming in for a team fight. Flameboy pops the BKB, going one-on-one against Skater. Now the Chain Frost does go on through. It's probably going to just go one bounce and not anything more than that. Stancel down to half life. Bloody Noob, that's kind of an interesting W coming out of the Dazzle. Shallow Grave, Crystal Bane caught out of position, but they're going to take this range Rax. Possibly the game based on it. You think this is GG?
Yeah, it definitely appears like it. I mean, buyback's not available for both Leshrac and CM, so it's basically a team of carries without any support. I don't think that they'll be able to really hold it really against this team. I mean, they're all full health, just about. There's tracks up, but reverse polarity's up. SK both has his ult up, it does not look good for the Radiant at all.
Yeah, if you're looking at Skeleton King's durability, although he does a ton of damage, especially with those crits and armlet, but if you're looking at his durability, he has 3,000 max HP. He has, what is it, 34 armor right now?
34 armor.
Wow. That's just so much HP up against physical damage, and Stancil just can't do much against it. Gets dropped down, and now Buyback has come out from Bounty. He was the only one on the Radiant who had it, and now that's their last one that they have used. The Aegis is still available on Ursa, as well as the ultimate from Flameboy, so really are they going to be able to do anything here? They do pop one of those two, but the question is, can they force them out? This is where they have to draw the line. If they cannot hold these middle racks, they will drop down. But Flameboy, been really aggressive, life-stealing quite a bit, actually gets a stun off. He has that gem and is trying to bring down Stancil, but the Frostbite not able to close the gap, and so he does actually take a fall for the time being. Will ultimately bring him back up. Bloody Knob still in the action, needs to get out so that he can, blink away. But Dr. Chopper was on him. Now Flameboy trying to finish the job, trying to bring down anybody they can, but he's so immobile, and he actually does get a bash up on Skater, so he will finish him, but he will take a fall in the end. So that is a big kill on Skeleton King. He does have the buyback, though, and he probably will pop it, assuming that he needs to. In the meantime, though, Ursa has fallen, and he has buyback as well. Kind of surprised me, but he hasn't really picked up any major items recently, so I suppose that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they did get the tower. There's actually a gem sitting right where the tower was. But, I mean, they can't really push out because the bottom and top are now pushing into their base. They have to have someone leave. They have to leave someone back at base now permanently, just to make sure that they don't lose the game just from creeps themselves.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was just an interesting exchange there. They did a large amount of damage output, but the one buyback that they had was sufficient. Bounty Hunter coming back into it, and they were able to repel them. The AoE stuns, they were kiting them there. Everybody was falling back whenever they got focused, and the only one that really dropped down was Kunkka with those bashes. So I think once the Abyssal Blade comes in for Skeleton King, and the bashes become so much more reliable with him having an active 2-second stun, I think he's going to be able to lock people down a lot easier. But until that happens, it's going to be very difficult for them. I mean, they've just been running out every time they get focused, and that's been working. But one game changer that just got picked up by Zyberia, he just picked up the Refresher Orb. With that Blink Dagger and the Refresher, actually, never mind, that's complete waste. He doesn't have the mana for it. 300 mana for the Reverse Polarity. 2 of those alone he only has 250 mana left. So he's not going to be able to use the Refresher Orb. It's a fun idea, but unless you have Arcane Boots, it's not feasible.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, that's why I originally thought he was going to go Orchid, because I would give him at least the regeneration and at least some kind of CC other than his skewer, but I mean...
Dr. Chopper caught out pretty hard. The skewer goes on through after the Hellfire Blast, and Razor just getting burned down really hard. The Abyssal Blade went on through, but do they have any more slows? He's so fast, actually walking right on through them. Did that actually work? I can't imagine that actually did, but the boat goes on through on the back end, and it looks like Camel Hoarder's just fast enough to escape. Holy crap, that's not even juking, that's just saying, hey guys, I know you can't finish me off because you popped all your cooldowns, and Sayonara just runs on through. Leshrac will take a fall and drop the gem on the ground. That's the only one that did drop down, actually missing a little bit of teamfight here. Zyberia pops, no, nothing. He popped his ultimate, but Refresher ordered up only to have nothing else available. So he did pop an ultimate, and Leshrac's just going to buy back from that. But this is the racks. If they can pick up the racks, it doesn't matter. I mean, they can burn them down so quickly. The fortification isn't available. Nice stun coming on through. They just need to focus this. Kill the range racks. That's the game. Come on. Oh, they're focusing the team instead. Stancil does drop down, though. The Chain Frost going on through. Offside Busty Baboon as well. Now, Dr. Chopper, they're pursuing him. He has a lot of evasion and mobility. Now, Ursa gets stunned up for the time being, but the racks have fallen. That is Mega Creeps, and I believe that's the game. Flameboy putting out a heck of a lot of damage on Skater, and with that stun, is going to be able to finish the job. Abyssal Blade not even needed, and now he needs to jump in on him. There's stun number 1. Abyssal Blade is there the follow-up. They do not finish him off, and he may just regen from the fountain, but like I said, it doesn't matter. As great as Razor is, and as much as he's done this game, even surviving for the time being, those Mega Creeps will continue to just pressure on every single lane, and they honestly, I mean, the fact of the matter is Radiant, despite their early game advantage, weren't able to take down even a tier 3 tower. So all the momentum, all the pressure that they had in the early game stage, actually jumping over 20,000 gold and 15,000 experience at the peak of their advantage, and that just comes crashing down as they were not able to bring down any racks, and that's how this game can go back and forth. The late game was in the favor of the Dire, and they got it.
Yeah, like I was saying before, Dire definitely had a late game strategy. They wanted the game to push out further. I mean, if the Radiant side had pushed in about the 20-minute mark when they had the advantage, I think this game would have been over much sooner with a much different outcome. But because they stalled and let the Radiant side farm up, Bloody Noob getting his items, Flameboy just farming like a fiend, was able to completely change the game when it hit that about 40-minute mark when they just had overwhelming presence and advantage.
Exactly. So that's what it came down to. The net worth, GPM, came down to the carries, and a really good initiation. I'm going to say MVP for Zybera, even though he was kind of goofing around with the refresher orb that could never work for him. I still thought it was a fun, just really good initiation and usage of the skills, especially for a brand new hero, unless he picked him up a lot in Dota 1. But one way or another, thanks for casting with me, man. Creeper Reaper, this guy, co-caster. So if you guys have any feedback in the chat, please let us know, positive, negative, anything. Using this to kind of help me decide what I'm going to be doing in the next couple of weeks as far as co-casters and who I'm going to be bringing on board with that. But it was very fun casting with you, and hope to do some more in the future. So this was a Team Liquid in-house game. I am Blaze casting. That was Creeper Reaper. And we're going to be going into another game in just a moment's time, play one song for you, and then hopefully get a different caster. Just keep it cycling around. But thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll go to the next in just a minute.
Yeah, and thanks for letting me cast with you.
No problem, man.